Hey everybody, how's it going? Glenn here, back with another Monday vlog. So, as some of you might notice, I'm uploading this vlog quite a bit later in the day than I usually do on Monday. It's been a really weird day, I can say that. So, yesterday afternoon, we lost power on like our entire block. I think a couple hundred people were without power for a couple of hours, just out of the blue. Didn't seem like there was a specific incident that caused it. And since then, we've been having some really spotty internet in my area that's been incrementally getting better as I've been trying to, check it up on it throughout the day. So it wasn't even at a point where I could really upload this video earlier on in the day. Like the internet connection was just so slow and spotty, and certain websites, like the certificate, was coming up invalid or whatnot. So I don't entirely know what was going on. I think I'm up and running here now. I'm getting my work done, but up until about right now, this point in this day, I wasn't getting a lot done there. And also, I didn't sleep super well last night, as often happens when I let myself, get less disciplined with my sleep schedule. I end up staying up later, which means I end up waking up later, and sometimes I'll get tired and take naps in the afternoon. So I'm trying to make a more conscious decision today and tomorrow to get back on a regular sleep schedule. Hopefully get things, working optimally again. But anyway, enough of that. Life happens, but we keep moving on. Main thing I wanted to talk about today is what I was thinking about as far as the now and the later. Like how I'm spending my time for, what's going to happen now versus how I can spend my time for, what's going to happen with my business down the road. So like short-term gains, long-term gains, and how spending my time affects my business at different degrees. So last week, I finished up the last of my audiobooks that I had been producing. I had 2 more audiobooks that I finished up, and that was taking up a lot of my time, as audiobooks often do. And as I've said a couple times before in previous vlogs here, is that more than any other voiceover project, audiobooks feel like I'm finishing a term paper. It's just this massive thing. Even if the subject is interesting, there are just parts of it that are kind of tedious because I have to edit all of my own audio. There's just a lot of just sort of menial tasks that have to get done in order to produce this finished thing. And they can be great work. Like I've had some pretty solid work come through audiobooks. But long form narration, especially when you have a book that's like 3, 4, 5, even more hours, just feels like such a mammoth project compared to other things like commercial reads or character work. And having wrapped these books up, these last 2 books that I finished, I decided that I want to take a break from audiobooks for the time being. And I was thinking about in audiobooks in the context of how I'm spending my time and how best to spend my time for the development of my business. And audiobooks really felt more like a short-term gain favor, but a long-term loss. In that, so audiobooks are generally pretty easy work to get. Like I don't have as much competition for most of the audiobooks I go for compared to some of the other sites where I audition and try to find work. And it pays okay for where I'm at right now. It's still not great. It's still a far cry from what would be considered the industry standard rates for doing that kind of work. But it's keeping the lights on. It's keeping me afloat, and it's good experience in the meantime. But because I've been spending so much time on audiobooks, and because each audiobook takes so much time, there's so many other things that I've been wanting to do with my business that I've sort of had to put on the back burner, as when I get so wrapped up in a book, I can't really focus on a lot else, like I said, because it takes up so much time. And so, because really when it comes to managing a business, it's all about finding efficient ways to manage your time. Like time is a limited resource. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. And one of the big keys to running a successful business is finding out how to most efficiently use the time that you have in said given day. And that's just something that I'm, always trying to figure out how I can better be doing and whatnot. And so sometimes you may do things that might be like a gain in the short term, but won't pay as many dividends in the long term. And that's sort of what audiobooks had been for me. So it was like something I can do now that's easy to get, that's a quick job, that's a quick paycheck. But in doing that, I'm having to put other stuff that would set me up for better earnings farther down the road on the back burner that I'm not able to get to as much. Big example which would be getting on like different freelancer sites or different voiceover roster sites and stuff. Like you can spend some considerable time setting up profiles on freelance sites or sites like Voice123 or Voices.com. Just getting your profile filled out, getting all of your information, and getting your demos recorded and uploaded and whatnot. You can spend a lot of time doing that without making a dime directly for any of that work that you do. But in doing so, you also set yourself up for being able to get more work in the future. Like you set yourself up in a position where you're able to be in more pools for places where work shows up. Like I try to cast a wide net when it comes to voiceover work, and so that because it's such a numbers game, you typically don't get the majority of the work that you auditioned or apply for. So it really is you want to try and apply for an audition for as much work as you can get out, just so statistically more of it ends up working out for you. And when I'm working on audiobooks, I just haven't had the time to set myself up to have that big of a pool of work to draw from and whatnot. So now that I've finally wrapped up the latest audiobooks, I'm going to say, like, okay, it's okay if I don't make as much money the next week or two if I'm not, doing straight direct work that pays me, as long as I'm doing stuff that will help, build up the foundation of my business that should hopefully pay greater dividends further down the road. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on right now. And, it's a lesson that I'm always learning, relearning time and time again. So, yeah, not a lot of big projects in the hopper right now. But for me, for where I'm at right now, that's a good thing, because there's 101 things that I've been wanting to do for a while now that I haven't been able to get around to do when you're caught up in so much other work. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this week. I should finally be able to get to a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to do for a while, like setting up some of these profiles. Wanted to record some additional samples for ACX, some additional samples of me reading different genres of audiobooks, doing some other recording some self demos and whatnot that I can put out there and give people a greater sense of the breadth of work that I can do, and a lot of stuff like that. So hopefully, while it may not be as profitable a week as other weeks have been, it should hopefully be a more productive week than previous weeks have been. And like I said, I'm very excited to see what this brings. All right, that's about what I got for today. Thanks again for tuning in. I suppose as a YouTuber, I should say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and I will see you next week. Take care.